What is up, guys? I'm Ethan, your Real Life English Fluency coach, and in today's lesson, we are going to talk about 6 things that you need to do every day in order to improve your English communication skills. So if you have ever had that feeling where you're about to get into a conversation and you freeze up, or that really what you hear in your head doesn't come out of your mouth, then this lesson is for you. And really the best part is that you don't need to go live in an English-speaking country. You can create your own immersion experience wherever you are in the world. So I promise you that if you do these 6 things every single day, you are going to notice a huge transformation in your ability to confidently communicate in English. So let's get into it. But quickly, before we do, I want to let you know that if you are new here, every week we make new lessons like this one to help you attain the mindset, the method, and the mastery that you need to go beyond the classroom and live your English. So if that sounds like something that you want to be able to do, it's really simple. Hit that subscribe button and the bell down below so you don't miss any of our new lessons. All right, so this first one is really fantastic because it will help you with all the other 5 tips that I have for you today. So all the other 5 are actually going to be about different things that you can do to learn and study that will help you improve daily. And one of the easiest way to make different habits like this effortless is by connecting them to your already existing daily routines. Now, although there's a lot of different lessons out there about the same topic of different things that you should do every day in English, I haven't really seen any other teachers talk about the importance of routines. Now, this is really about your mindset for learning English. For me personally, I really like planning out my days and my weeks on Google Calendars. Now, if you get in the habit of planning out your days and your weeks and maybe even your years, it can be a really life-changing thing for you because all of a sudden you're in control of where your life's going. You get to design exactly what you want to happen in your life. I actually use a guide from a website called Live Your Legend, which is really fantastic and it's also free. I will link that down in the description below. Now, I work a lot, and so for me, this is really essential to be able to fit in all of the important priorities around my work. That's things like exercising, meditating, cooking, doing other things around the house, studying, and currently I'm actually learning how to sing. Now, just like brushing your teeth or showering, learning English should become something that is non-negotiable that you do every single day, even if it's just 10 minutes. So, of course, to do this, it becomes really important to know your already existing daily routines. So basically what I'm going to do to help you figure this out is to ask you some different questions. Now, you can just think this in your head, but you might also want to actually get a piece of paper and write it down because this will really help you to start thinking about your daily planning. So first off, what time do you get up in the morning? What time do you go to work? How do you go to work? Do you have breaks at work? And what do you usually do during these breaks? What time do you get home in the evening? And what other responsibilities do you have when you get home? And what time do you go to bed? And what other activities do you like to participate in during the week? This could be exercising, this could be dancing, music, singing, going out for a run. Write down anything that comes to your mind. And finally, who do you have in your life that can support you in your learning? All right, now that you have that in your mind, or maybe even on paper, it's going to help you a lot to think about how you can fit the next 5 activities into your everyday life. Now, as an English learner, listening is essential. You need to do it at least twice as much as you speak. But the great news is that listening is super convenient to fit in throughout your day, and there's so many different ways to do it that you're guaranteed to find some way that you love. So definitely one way that maybe you're already doing is learning with music. Now, of course, it's not enough to just listen to music on the radio in English while you're driving to work. You actually need to actively learn while you're listening to music. So, of course, you need to learn with the lyrics. Now, I really like Spotify because with most popular music, they show you the lyrics on screen while you're listening. So you probably can't do this in your car, but maybe if you take the bus to work, or if you're somewhere else where you're sitting and can listen at the same time, this is a really fantastic way to learn. And then you can test yourself by going to lyrics training or downloading the app on your phone. And then of course, once you've actually learned the lyrics of a song, then a really fantastic way to kind of improve your English on the go is to listen to it while you're doing other things. Just have it on in the background. Now, the next thing that you could do is listening to the radio or listening to an audiobook. And if you're not already, you should definitely give listening to podcasts a try. A really great place to start could be with our own Real Life English podcast, which is a really great way for you to learn with kind of lessons like this, but it's more through informal native conversations between me and Andrea, your other fluency coach, and Justin. So you can find that and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere else where you listen to podcasts. So I'll be sure to link that up here and down in the description below. Anyways, this is exactly why we did that exercise at the beginning, because now you can take a look at your schedule and think of what convenient moments do you have where you could be listening to things in English. So maybe while you're preparing your breakfast in the morning, you could be listening to the news on the radio in English. You could listen to an audiobook while you're in your car on the way to work, or you could even listen to songs while you're in the shower and sing along, and this is a great way to improve your pronunciation. So as you can see, if you're creative, there's 1,000,001 ways to improve your listening, and it's really convenient. So if you do this, then you can actually add hours every day of English listening and really take your skills to the next level. And by the way, a really fantastic way to build your listening habit and to take your English comprehension, vocabulary, pronunciation, and confidence to the next level is with our Real Life Native Immersion course. Now, in this 41-week course, you will learn with episodes of our podcast, and it's really a great way to expose yourself to native English as it is spoken in the real world. Plus, you get PDF power lessons, vocabulary memorization software, access to our Fluency Circle global community, and so much more. And you can try it for free right now with our Power Learning Week. Simply click up here or down in the description below to learn more and sign up. And on a final note, do things because you enjoy them. Don't just go and start listening to the radio in English because I suggested it to you if it's not already something you enjoy doing in your native language. Because the most probable thing is that if you start some new habit but you don't really enjoy it, then you're probably going to give up after a short amount of time. So choose things that you already like doing, and that way you'll have fun, you'll make it convenient, and you're really going to see a huge impact on your English. All right, so we have talked about building routines, we've talked about building different convenient habits into your day. Now let's talk about how you can develop some other habits that will really help take your English to the next level. I have a few suggestions for you, but then I want you to get kind of creative and think of other things that you could do. So my first tip for you is actually journaling. Now, various studies have shown the benefits of journaling for things like reflection, stress relief, and increased gratitude. Now, as an English learner, if you start doing this in English, it's a really great way to start practicing your writing every single day. And don't worry so much about mistakes. Most learners think that that might make their English worse. It will not. Really, the important thing to focus on is the actual daily habit of it, the actual practice of writing. And one thing that you could actually try doing is once you've built a habit of this, then go back like 2 weeks or so and look at the mistakes that you made then kind of from the lens of what you've learned since then, and you can probably find some mistakes that you've made and correct them yourself. Now, another really great idea could be getting a teacher because they can actually correct it for you, and they'll also hold you accountable to maintaining that habit. Now, my recommendation for you to get started with this is to just start small by writing down 3 things every day that you're grateful for. You could do this while you're having breakfast in the morning or coffee, or you could even do this just before bed. But I guarantee if you start doing this after a few days, you're going to notice that you're more positive and happy throughout your entire day. So the next thing is meditation. This is one of my own personal favorite habits that has made such a huge impact on my own life. Now, one benefit of meditation is that it helps to make you more present. Now, obviously the benefit of this is that you enjoy every moment more. Now, of course, it won't be all the time at first. It takes a little while to feel the effects of meditation. But if you do actually make a daily practice of this, I guarantee that you're going to notice it's just made a huge difference on your life. It can also help you to be less reactive. Now this means, with people that you work with or your family members, that maybe you won't be so quick to get angry about things. You'll be able to reflect on them more and see other people's point of view more. This is really helpful when you're learning another language and you're more exposed to people who have different points of views, they're from other different cultural backgrounds. Also, different studies have shown that this helps to reduce stress. And of course, for you as an English learner, one of the most important benefits is that it helps to improve your focus so that when you actually study English, you'll get more benefit from it. Now, some of the most successful people that you can think of swear by meditation. Just to give you a few examples, Lady Gaga, Will Smith, Katy Perry, and Bill Gates are just a few names of people who practice meditation every day and rave about the benefits of it. So if you want to try meditation and feel its benefits, then I'll definitely link a couple resources down below, like 2 of my favorite apps that have definitely helped me a lot. Insight Timer and Waking Up. And the great thing about both of these is they are guided meditations in English, which is another great way to practice your listening. And finally, we actually have an article on our blog explaining to you how meditation can help your English. So go check that out. Now, the other habit that you can try building is chatting using apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, or others, and joining different groups to practice your English. Now, I talked about in the introversion lesson that I made a couple of weeks ago that this is just a really great way for you to lower the bar and get some confidence communicating. Now, this is really fantastic too because you can just do it during a 5-minute break at work while you're having your coffee. Just jump on the app and read some messages and respond, and you'll be getting a little bit of your English practice in. Now, I might be biased, but the Fluency Circle community is probably one of the best places where you can practice your English by chatting. Now, we have groups on both Facebook and Telegram, and this is included with all of our courses, such as the Real Life Native Immersion course that I told you about before. Next, our TV series. Now, if you're like the average person, you probably already watch at least some TV. So why not actually practice your English while you do this? Now, I'm not going to get into too many tips for you here. We can definitely do another video on that, but we already have a fantastic resource for you to practice your English with TV series on our Learn English with TV series channel here on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. Now, like TV series, if you enjoy reading, this is another really great thing that you can try doing in English. Of course, start out slow, maybe pick something that you have already read in your native language. My first book that I ever read in Spanish was Harry Potter. That's a fantastic series to get started with if you like them. And be patient. Recognize that you don't have to understand every single word as long as you understand the context. Now, I would love to give you some more tips that have helped me learning language with reading, and if you would like us to make a lesson on that, then please give us a like down below to let me know. And then you can also check out this lesson that I made about 6 books that will change your English and your life. And then the final one is to do things that aren't related to English learning in English. So to give you an example, I had a friend who was a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and he actually really enjoyed participating in different fan forums, talking about different fan theory, and this was a great way for him to connect with natives and other English learners around something that he's really passionate about. So get creative, think about the things that you enjoy doing, and research what different resources are out there, where are people talking about this thing. And be sure to check out our Instagram because we give you more tips like this over there. Alright, so if you are really committed to reaching the really advanced levels of English, then it's not always going to necessarily be fun. Actually, maybe if you're a bit of a geek like me, you will actually find it fun. So you actually need to spend some deliberate study time every single day in English. Now, what does deliberate mean? Deliberate means doing things that challenge you to practice certain details that help to sharpen your skills. Now, if you're serious, you must do this every single day, even if it's just 10 minutes with your breakfast. So let me give you some examples of different things that you could do. So you could actually do some exercises in a good grammar book. I'll actually link one of my favorites down below. So another really great thing you can do is drill exercises. Now, drilling is repeating the same thing over and over again. And this can maybe be a little bit more boring, but it is very effective. So you can do this with pronunciation. One way that helps with this is by practicing minimal pairs. And a minimal pair is 2 words that are the same except for 1 vowel sound. So for example, one of the most common examples is ship and sheep. Now, I'll link a website that actually can help you to practice with these. You can also drill with different YouTube videos that focus on pronunciation, or you could try tongue twisters, which is a more fun way to do it. Another really great thing that you can do is learn the International Phonetic Alphabet. Now, this will help you learn every single sound that exists in English. And this is important because many of those sounds might not exist in your native language. Now, I highly recommend that you actually record and listen to yourself because you might actually be able to hear a lot of your own errors. And of course, it can be really beneficial to watch videos on YouTube just like this one, but it is only deliberate if you actually take notes and then you actually apply what you learn from that video. Now, if you're watching TV or reading books in English, one thing that you can do is actually take note of the new vocabulary and expressions that you're learning, and then the next day during your deliberate study time, you can look up the definitions and do not just translate these, actually look up the definitions in an English dictionary, and then add them to a vocabulary memorization software like Anki. And then you can actually practice these. Or you could also write example sentences of these, or if you are picking up a journaling habit, then why not try using this new vocabulary or expressions in your journal? So of course, I'm sure you're learning English because you actually want to speak it. So you should actually try to practice this every single day. Now, you don't need to go live in an English-speaking country. You can find ways that you can do this in your own city. You have to be creative. Now you have to be open to opportunities to speak wherever possible, whether it's by Skype or in person. So you could consider, joining the comments down below and meeting people there, or over on our Instagram. You could also be looking for opportunities like this in person. Maybe you could go stay in a hostel if you're in a touristic city, and you could meet foreigners this way and start talking with them. Another really great solution is by joining Facebook groups. Now, I don't just mean joining Facebook groups for English learners. Actually look for Facebook groups around things that you're passionate about your deepest interests. Now, one thing that I'm actually doing right now is I'm looking into adopting a dog. So I've been joining different dog groups on Facebook, and this has been a really great way to meet other dog lovers and to practice my vocabulary around dogs in Spanish. And as I mentioned before, we have our Fluency Circle community where you have learners from all around the world who are dying to speak with you. Now, if you don't have anyone else to speak with one day, then the best thing that you can do is speak to yourself. And when you do this, again, I highly recommend that you actually record yourself and listen back and correct your mistakes. Now, it can be really useful to actually pick different topics because it will kind of build your abilities to talk about that. And then actually when you get to speak with someone, it will come really easily to you. So this is a great way to start thinking in English as well. So a couple tips for how you could do this is, for example, if you like reading the news, then maybe look for a news story that interests you and talk about that just as if you were talking to another person, or an article about something else. Or after you finish this video, for example, why not record yourself talking about what you just learned? And this is also going to have the other benefit of really grilling this information in your brain. All right, are you ready? We are down to the final habit. So this is all about getting accountability. Now, if someone holds you accountable, it basically means that that person makes sure that you are going to do what you committed to doing. Now, certainly one of the simplest ways to do this is by having a teacher or coach or tutor or language exchange partner who makes sure that you're going to show up to class or to that Skype session that you have talked about. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be this though. If you have someone close that you live with or that you see every single day, like your husband or wife, your child, or maybe someone you work with, then you can have them hold you accountable. So a really great tip that I just heard on a podcast is getting an accountability partner and actually sending that person a message every morning telling them what you're going to do. So for example, for your English, you could tell that person what you're going to do for your deliberate study time. And then at the end of the day, you write them again and you tell them what you actually did. So you could do the same for them, and then that way you're helping each other grow. All right, so finally, maybe you need to raise the stakes a little bit to give yourself that extra push to do that thing. So basically what you would do is set up something that if you don't do the thing you're supposed to do, you have to do something else that you really do not want to do. So probably the easiest thing would be using money. So for example, you could tell some friend, every day that I don't do my deliberate studying in English, I will pay you $20. And you can bet that that friend is going to check in every single day to make sure that you are studying, and you're probably not going to want to miss that time more than once or twice. But it doesn't necessarily have to do with money, maybe if you don't have a lot of it. You could choose something else. So for example, say that your husband takes out the trash every single day. Now you could tell your husband, any day that I don't do my deliberate study, I'm going to take out the trash for the next week. And I'm sure your husband will also check with you to make sure that you're doing your study every day, as he's probably not going to want to take out the trash either. Or you could actually take away something that you really enjoy. So for example, if you really look forward every day to watching TV after work, then you could say, well, if I don't do my studying in the morning, then I do not get to watch TV at night. Now you can get really creative with your own solution, but basically the idea of this is to choose something that's going to make sure that if you go to bed at 10 p.m. and it's 9:30 p.m. and you have not yet done that thing that you're really committed to doing, that you are going to be sure to do it before going to bed because you do not want to suffer the consequences. All right, so that is all of the habits that I have for you, but I want to remind you again to take a look at your schedule, to plan some convenient things that you can do to improve your listening, to develop some new fun habits, to get at least 10 minutes of deliberate study time per day, and of course, to speak whenever you can and find the people who can hold you accountable. But also just a warning to pace yourself, because generally people get really excited about trying something new. They try to take on everything at once, and when you do this, you will probably just end up getting burnt out and giving up. So I want to hear from you. Comment down below and let me know which of these new habits is the most useful for you and which one are you going to try. Now it's time to go beyond the classroom and live your English. Aw, yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea, your Real Life English fluency coach, and today's lesson is really going to help you with those pains you have about learning English. I'm going to give you the best tips and tricks that you can start learning and using so that you can speak English faster, but also understand natives better, even when we speak fast.